Hi there, Chi. It's Martin and Nick, and we've got an assessment of Greenheys Road. Now, we got lucky. We've got a 3D walkthrough, which is great news. And I assume they said no pictures because they knew that there was this excellent 3D walkthrough, which gives us everything we need, in fact, when it comes to condition assessment. So this is all really positive. And with that in mind, let's get into it. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to do condition assessment first, then it's demographics, crime, capital growth, and all of that lovely stuff. So just offhand, there's some peeling wallpaper there. I'm going to just whiz through this. This gives us an overview with the floor plan. Then we get into the 3D walkthrough where the real juice is, as it were. That looks like a relatively new modernization. It's interesting. So there would have been a wall there, I suspect, and they've taken that out. And some woodwork, which looks a bit dated, but we're okay. So one of the bad things is these 3D things don't do the garden. But we can see here the garden is big, and that looks like a clothesline. And here we are at the front. This looks like ex-local authority. And I can see here concrete tiles. They're actually good things because they last a really long time, so you won't have roof issues. And this looks like a 1960s, 1950s property. Is that right, Martin? You've got the...
I'm checking. Yeah, I'm checking still. That I will talk about.
It's of that period anyway, so it's not going to have damp issues because it has a damp-proof course and all of that. So that, unlike say Victorian houses, which often have damp problems. All right, let's get into the 3D walkthrough and have a good snoop around.
Yeah, it's 1960s.
Yeah, it's a good time for building, oddly enough. 1970s not so good, but 1960s was a good time. All right, so it's a bit blurry here, but what I'm interested in is whether the double glazing is blown. I can't really tell. I don't know. If it has, it's not a big problem. Let's just have a look at the front window again. We might be able to tell from here. I think it's okay. It's not a major problem if it's gone. So it just means you have to unclip the double glazing from the frame, pull out the old glazing, put a new one in. It's quite a straightforward process. But anyway, right. So nice laminate flooring, it looks like. It might even be engineered wood. And the reason I say that is there's a nice big old scratch there. And if it was thin laminate, it would be scratched through, but I think that looks fine. Anyway, it's in reasonably good condition and that's fine. So classic 1960s door, by the way, nice to see it still in situ. It's probably worth keeping it just because it's a feature.
And I want to say this was ex-social house and 10 years ago was sold. Basically, since then it have same tenants. They didn't change the tenancy. It's 500 per month, and now should be more than 700. And what they do, I noticed that when the property was bought, now because I check photos from previous and now because I have them, basically they didn't. When they bought it, they changed the kitchen, they changed something, they renovate the house. So the house is renovated when the last time is bought in 2020.
All right, like 10. Oh, 10 when it was sold 10 years ago, right? Yeah. So okay, so the laminate flooring, right? So it's thin laminate flooring actually, and you can tell because it's just kind of gone here slightly. So there's a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, here. It's 10 years old. Everything is 10 years old, and the kitchen is still the same, just is painted, as you can see on fixed. Can you check the shades? Yeah, so everything was brown, and basically you can notice that how they're painting.
Oh, I see. So they just kind of gave it a white thing. You know, the thing with this kind of property is it needs zero renovation because the tenants, it's irritating that the Matterport thing is gone, but it's not a big deal. From what I can see, it's in good condition throughout. So let's move. Let's just quickly look at this again. Right, so you've got a conservatory. Let's see if we can get into the conservatory. Oh, that's helpful. All right, that's a lovely big garden. And just a point to note, the grass is cut. The beds are nicely done. Did you notice in the photographer didn't do a great job. There's a lot of these images which are blurred, but did you notice little details like this shoe rack, all nice and tidy? So, you know, these are tenants who care about the property and have made it their home. Carpets are dirty and need cleaning, but that's not a huge issue.
Yeah.
And let's go up here. So this is don't know what it is, but
I will check on the floor plan.
We've got, let's have a look at the floor plan. We can look at that here. And all right, so we've got the bedroom here. Let's go into here. Oh, it's the loo. Okay, fine. So it's a small lavatory with a bathroom with a shower.
Fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's got
Can you check the damp on the top? On the top of the floor, on the if they have some,
there's no damp issues here. So what they've done, I think, is you can see there's a bit of a shadow by the window. What that means is that window is left open as a trickle vent, so they just keep the room aerated. Whereas this one isn't. You see, there's no shadow here. So this is your air vent, and that's good. You don't see any black lines which are mold or anything because they look after the property. Nicely done. Okay, this is very encouraging. And here we have a study, and the double glazing looks fine, and that's fine. Yeah, it's all good. And let's just have a look at the floor plan. So that's this room, and then we have the master here. That double glazing looks okay. It looks okay. I think it's okay. All right. So again, it's in reasonably good condition. For some reason, they've got lots of spare chairs around the place. But
and it's 83 meters square.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's a good size. And here we have this, and everything looks fine. There's no damp, no signs of any issue.
And EPC is C.
Oh, that's good. All right, all the double glazing looks okay. Now, typically with double glazing, what happens is if one goes, then many go because the whole batch of double glazing isn't great.
And I think the roof is renovated because it has 250 millimeters loft insulation. So,
right. Okay, this is a nicely laid out property. I like it. So in terms of condition, I think it's doing pretty okay. Let's have a look at the rest of the story with this. Now, the next thing is I'll make it bigger so you can see it. And it's the old demographics. And the answer on the demographics is it's okay. There's quite a lot of ex-local authority, but the reason this works better than a lot of local authority is because you can park your car outside the house. And
you have fence.
Like that. Huh?
And you have fence between the properties.
Yeah, they're just nice little houses. And do you notice as well, one other little feature just to say, look at all those solar panels. Now, when people invest £5,000 or £8,000 in a house on this kind of stuff, it means they want to stay. And that's very encouraging. It's a nice neighborly area.
Yeah,
now, there is
and you
a little
can
bit
see
sorry?
The roofs. You can check the roofs colors. That every roof is different. That they change a lot of. Everyone renovate the roofs. So that's also positive stuff.
This is good. So people care about this neighborhood. Now there is a little bit of crime down here, but it's not too much.
I spoke with Chi already about this, and I explained her that near the house it's low crime, but around it's not really perfect. Especially on the right side, you can see here it's little bit
some
medium.
issues.
Yeah, but it's far away from the property, so and it's like a circle of social house.
I don't think this is too much of an issue. I mean, it's kind of slightly that's crimey around here.
Yeah, it's crimey, but not really.
Yeah, it's kind of there's a bit of action in this area, but certainly very little around here, which is encouraging. And you know, this kind of thing, it's just you have a little enclave, you have one bad family who cause trouble and so on, but for whatever reason they're not causing trouble up here. And bear in mind, this is 6 months of aggregated data. Now it is from 2019, and that's because Manchester Met don't share their data, or haven't shared their data for a couple of years, which is annoying. So I got historic data, but I think overall it's okay. So the demographic is kind of on the lower end of the scale, and there's a lot of local authority housing, but it's the right kind of housing, if that makes sense. So and Martin, when we get to the plot view, it would be very helpful to have a look at the plot view for this, just to see the proportion that have been sold. Okay, capital growth, very good is the answer, and the reason is because it's a lot of people selling these social houses, and they're just going up in value. So they get sold, they get resold, and so on. And in respect to long-term growth, there was a lot of property sold in the last cycle, hence this huge capital growth of 115%. And then it did tank a bit, but overall, from 2008, it's kind of reached the 2008 levels back once again. And now we're getting into the next growth cycle, as you know. So if we look at the cycles, just to refresh your memory on all this, markets have cycles. This is affordability data going back to 1845. So it's basically 177 years of capital growth, and 8 cycles. We're in cycle number 9. We're in the boom phase. So expect the market to rise. Now, this is one of the top growing areas for growth in the whole country. There are only 7% of areas which are growing more than this. So it's very likely to grow a lot. And I actually see this, doing a lot of growth. And the reason is that as the central areas get overbought and property gets too expensive, people try to find value further out. And the thing about this property is that it's near the M61, so it's a bit close to the motorway. You will get road noise, but it won't be excessive. But it's value. The price is reasonable. And at 135 for a nice, well-built 3-bed semi that needs very little work, call it 145 once you get into the bidding, it's value.
Yeah, it
okay.
Is.
And people will see this. So then the question is, right, how much is it going to go up in value? And the answer is it's probably going to grow by another 16% is my guess based on the algo. I would say probably for this area, that would be about right. Plus you factor in inflation. So let's assume 5% inflation every year. So that's 20% roughly, at 21 if you compound it, but let's call it 20% just for round numbers. So let's call it 35%. And if you're, let's say you're offering, let's say it goes up to 145, then 145,000 multiplied by 1.35 to be a bit conservative. So 195. I definitely see a house like this, a nice, well-built, decently large semi with car parking nearby, creeping up towards the 185, 195 mark for sure. In 4 years' time.
It's like a Hulton, so it should be at least 180. At minimum will be 180.
So in respect to the rental demand in this area, so this data comes from property data, and
it's huge.
It's just this is so strong. You literally put your property on the market, you'll have accepted offers in a week and a half, that kind of thing. For renting, it's even crazier. So it's very healthy on these fronts. All right, so the next thing is just the basics. Is there flooding? No. What about coal mining? How are we doing on that front? And let's have a look. And the answer is no. There's nothing around there, which is great. So you're all clear. There's no mine shaft nearby.
No, it's not there.
Oh, sorry.
At the postal. It's
M38. Postal. Yeah. Let's get it. Sorry. Okay, I spoke too soon. This is why it's great having the two of us, because when Martin's talking, I'm watching, and if there's an issue, I flag it up. And okay,
I will speak. I'll check it.
I don't think there's an issue. There are some mine openings nearby, but we're up here, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, I know where is the exact location, so
right.
I can speak.
Okay, so on that note, let's go to you on this. You're on.
Okay, so here I am. The property is here.
Okay, so we're okay. So it's
basically
within 20 meters. Yeah.
Yeah, the should be there. And if I go on Google Maps and if I check, it should be somewhere here in this round. I guess it's somewhere here on this lot. So it's more than like 200 meters. So
actually, I bet it's where that tree is.
Yeah, I guess it's here somewhere.
Yeah. So how many meters is that from the property?
It's a lot. 81 meters.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, well, it's fine. So this is good.
And I check
it's
for So for the location, it's 40 minutes to Manchester, so that should be fine.
That's good.
Yeah. So and basically you have a bus station on this road, so it's not a big issue. So I want to say, here is the property. It have little extension. It's nice. Yeah, so you have parking here, basically all these houses around.
Yeah, you got some, you see that brownfield site behind. I wonder if that'll ever be built on. It wouldn't surprise me if they could get access to it. Yeah, that brown. So if you go back to the back of the property, you see that there's an area of hard standing behind the house. You go back to, now zoom out a little bit. There, you see it, the dark bit. Yeah, see that dark patch, that triangle of land. Anyway, it's probably too small to develop, but it's also lovely that it borders, like, A, it's 40 minutes public transport to central Manchester. B, look at all the countryside. It's lovely.
Yeah. It's like end of the little Hulton, but this area is like really nice.
Yeah, you do have the motorway. You do have the motorway, but the good thing about the motorway, just to say, is that the prevailing wind comes from the east, from the west, and so just kind of getting slightly distracted. Yeah, so the prevailing wind comes from the west or the southwest, and so for example, we live a sort of similar distance to a motorway, actually, the M25, and maybe a little further away, actually. But the bottom line is that you won't hear that much road noise. It's okay, because the wind pushes the noise away. So I think it's fine.
So basically, it's like 8 minutes with a car to the largest supermarket. So it's not far away. By walking is far away, like 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's a car. It's all about
cars, and transport is 30 minutes. So, but right now, so you have a bus on every 12 minutes. So. So basically,
it's just well, there are some stores nearby.
There's some small, but I just want to like the
huge brownfield site. What's that going on down there? You see? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but here you have a lot of new build. All of these are a lot of new builds coming, and here you can see here is a lot of social house. Like this area I will avoid. But this area here, it's also a social house, but much better than.
Yeah, what's interesting is that social. Could you just go street view on that the one you would avoid? Yeah, can you just go street view for that?
Yeah, you don't have fence between the property.
Yeah, so this is a classic example of bad architecture.
Yeah. And also, like they share the garden, so you don't have privacy. For example,
this might be a retirement village or something.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if the bungalows were for retirement. Anyway, right, moving on.
Yeah, and the lot is really large.
The plot.
And here is the previous.
Okay, so it's being extended. Yeah.
So basically, they had the extension, but now they just make it a little bit nicer, the smaller extension. And you can see that they paint. This is 2011, and I guess after they buy it,
they did a renovation, didn't they?
Renovation, and they put tenants. And what I noticed, interesting part, this old fence is old, and I can see here is new. So basically, the tenants didn't touch the fence for like 10 years.
Yeah, somebody cares. Yeah, somebody. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Right, so
it's previous. They care about the property, but they didn't care about the fence.
Yeah, interesting.
They didn't pay. Yeah. So
it needs very little work, this place. Okay, so next is plot view.
Yeah, plot view is here. As you can see, all of them like
big plots. Yeah.
So basically,
and it's all. Okay, so one thing we do need to check for is just any restrictive covenants around subletting.
So these properties are a social house. So like less than half are social house.
Very good.
Yeah, so in this area I have low. Here you have.
Of course, it could be sublet. What am I saying? Duh. It's already got a tenant. Sorry, I'm just not thinking straight. So this is fine. So sometimes with ex-local authority, there might be, very rarely there are restrictive covenants. Basically say you can't relet, but this is fine.
Yeah, and surface water is really low risk, and river and the sea very low risk. So I will not care about that. Also for the EPC, it's really nice. Usually EPC for end of terrace house, I'm like worried about it, but this property is 72 score.
Right.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's yeah, and the year is between 50 and 66, so I guess 60s. And
nice.
83 meters per square, nice size. And they said that it's a freehold, so everything is nice with this property. It was ex-social house, and this year it was purchased. So yeah, and after that already you have tenants like 10 years. That's why, and they're paying 500.
All right, let's get into comparables then.
Yeah, I go to comparables. So I can see like this similar type of house, end of terrace house, and you can see 159.
But that would be a non-ex-local, so that's an ex-local, and that's
but depends. If it's ex-social and you from ex-social you buy it because you live 40 years, so then the price is always low. They don't charge a lot, so we cannot compare.
You get a huge discount.
Yeah, they have usually a huge discount, and they buying for low amount of money, so we cannot compare. Like that's why I'm saying like the real prices are low. But if you compare, let's
talk about the rent and then the yield. So so let's assume, just for the sake of discussion, that this is definitely going to go to 145.
Yeah. Yeah, it's worth, but the problem is that the tenants living there 10 years and the owner didn't make the rent more higher. They didn't change. So I think the real rent is 10 years. I think you told me that you already speak with the tenants has been living for 10 years, 2 months notice, middle age, I believe. The property.
Fine.
So I don't see like.
Okay, well then, it's just they'll be expecting a rent hike, so that's fine. All right, so let's talk about yield then.
But
so what's it going to achieve?
If you need to, these tenants I think will not pay more than 650.
Okay, and so Chi, the thing about this property, as you've obviously worked out by now, is that if you've got sitting tenants, what they really don't want is to be disturbed. So they just don't want the renovations, and that's great. So as long as you're a bit conservative on, if they're on 500, so what's the question is, what's the maximum achievable rent on an open market for this property?
If it's, I think it can achieve 700 at least.
All right, so let's call it 650. What's the yield at 145k at 650?
5.4.
Yeah. I think it's very strong capital growth. So let's do. Okay,
but
so
if you change the tenants after 1 year, let's say buy it, rent it, increase the rent, and after 1 year, or like remarketing, or after 6 months, let tenants to find other property to live. Like don't disturb tenants. Give them like 6 to 1 year. Maybe not even increase the rent in the next 6 months, and after put 2,000 just to clean the property and a little bit renovate. You can rent it for 750. 750 by 12, 145. You will be lost first, like year, depends how much.
What's the yield on that?
6.2.
Yeah. So all right. Let's do a final wrap up then. So, Martin, score? I'm going to do scores on the doors, and the way I'm going to do this is I will. I'm going to just I'll share screen, and I'm going to rattle through this. So it's the Greenheys Road. Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and scores on the doors. So this is a new thing we're doing. It just helps you understand what we think of it and helps you make your decision on it. So, all right. So for condition, I think it's fine. Actually. It's what you say 4 point. I don't think it's immaculate. I would get a 4. So we're going to go 4.25. Location.
I said because you have tenants. So for now, it's an
EPC
is C, so I don't see any issue.
So indeed, and the fundamentally, the property is in fundamentally good condition. So that's why it gets a high rating. Yeah. So location,
3.75, something like that.
Yeah, it's not the best, but if you like green space, but you have the motorway. So the area, it's not a great area. It's a bit crimey.
Around, but near the property is good. So 3.5, 3.75, something.
Yeah. Crime, well, we said the area, so let's actually, the area is kind of, well, I'm going to go 4 on the 3.75. So I'm saying that because the area, it's quite nice. It's a bit down rent, but it's quite nice. Crime, I think it's a 3.5, could be better.
I think less.
Go?
Yeah, I will give 3, so 3.25. So.
The demographic is somewhere around the 3. It's not a particularly great demographic, but it's solid people and all of that. Now, will it sell? It'll fly. So I'm going right up there. And for rent, it's the same.
Also, it's for rent.
Very strong. For price, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So that means that you're not going to nick this, but you're lucky it's got a tenant in it. So that means all those owner occupiers aren't competing, which is a good thing. And therefore, I think you're going to get it at it's not going to be a completely crazy price, but there will be a certain amount of competition. I don't know yet.
I think maybe 140 you can buy it. 140 if it buy it, and
maybe. We don't know. So I'm going to give it a 4 on price because I think it is good value. And the reason I think it's good value is the capital growth. So it's not the price today, it's the price in a few years' time.
Yield, because with tenants it's really low.
Yeah.
But if make them tenants go out, it's really nice. So I'll give 3.5, 3.75.
And cap growth, I think, is just stellar on this.
Yeah.
It's one of the best. And like I said, it's going to really fly just because of the 3.84. So to give you context on this, if it's above a 4, that's rare, and it's it's just on another level. But that's rare. This is a really, so it's, if you think of it like this is a relatively cheap property. It's not premium, but it's a good property deal that works very nicely on a lot of fronts.
Yeah,
and
it's little bit far away from, like, not everything, but it's just that if it was little closer, this property will be 170 at least. Like 5 streets more central, it will be 170 because I know this area very well.
Yeah,
so just because it's like the end, that's why it's cheaper.
Okay, so I hope that gives you some context. It's certainly a very nice little property. It has its issues, but it's a good score, actually. Anything below 3 and we're like, nah, or even, or, the way we score these things, just finally, is that they're, with property, often they can get an okay score, but there's some fundamental problem that makes it an avoid. And there's no fundamental problem with this, and it scores okay. And the big one that is really critical, I think, is the capital growth is really good. So you know what I'm going to probably do? I'll adjust the algorithm a little bit, I think, because their scores are all weighted. Anyway, enough of that. Gee, that's just me getting all nerdy about data, and you probably don't really care. But overall, we like it. So final suggestion and offer?
Depends of what we can do with tenants. If we can make tenants go away, I will go up 145. Depends what also achieve want to achieve, but also we need to see, because they have 2 months notice, but I will keep them at least 6 months.
Yeah,
just
they
not
care.
like that.
These people love their home. You can see it, and therefore I would definitely make the pitch, make the purchasing pitch like we really want to keep the tenants. I think that's important. You know, there's no legal obligation to say that, you know, to follow up on that, but it's just those people have made that their home and they're the perfect tenants, really. So there you go. All right. Thank you.
Just one short, just to say this, that if the property was like in this red part, it will be 180, I guess. And because it's here, it's 140. So just this road, because after this road, the property started to be cheaper. Yeah. Just because it's more far away, but
it works. It works because the growth is there.
And
the demographics are okay.
This part I will like avoid. This part is really nice. It's improving a lot. It have a lot of new builds, and the same will happen with this because people love to live in these areas because they are not far away from Manchester, 40 minutes with transport. So I think it's really this area will be even better in next 3-4 years.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my opinion.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chip, and speak to you. Bye.
Bye.